Alrighty friends, so today's video is going to be a little bit different than my previous videos up until this point. The type of content that I've been enjoying doing is focusing on PvP on more of a micro scale, trying to go over little things that I do in fights to try and give you guys a better idea of how big of a difference little micro things can make. But for a little while now, I've been getting requests here and there to do a full match commentary, and the reason why I haven't done one up until this point is because of the thing I just mentioned, but also because of just the sheer length of an OPR match. While I wasn't completely against the idea, it's just these matches can be quite a while sometimes. So it just makes it a little bit of a harder watch or something to get through. But we are going to give it a shot today. So please let me know in the comments if you guys enjoy this video format, because it's definitely something that I think I can enjoy doing in the future. But taking a look at the match we're in today, as you can see, we're already off to a pretty bad start. The entire enemy team has capped all 3 of our points right off the beginning of the match here. And we've already gone down trying to defend our point here. We are on the Rapier and Fire Staff build. I have just released my build video if you have not seen it, but I will leave a link for that in the description. But this build is a very mobile assassin, and I'm going to try and hopefully give you guys an insight into what I'm thinking on a more macro scale, and how I like to find success on this build when it comes to larger scale fights. As you can see, we've pushed back out onto the point here, and still, again, we are in another situation here where we're pretty much the only one on our team who's actually on the point. But we are aware of it this time, and we're trying to be much more safe and not get caught like we did last time. And I'm trying to just keep my eye on a healer. Now, the thing about dealing with healers when it comes to large scale fights, people often think that you have to get the kill to deal with the healers, but simply attacking them and forcing them to heal themselves is essentially taking them out of the fight, because they can't heal a teammate. As you saw there, we got really close to going down. Just barely got our parry to proc, and we just do a little evade and escape out of the point there just to regenerate a little bit of health. Jump right back onto the point, and you see there is a healer at the top of the archway there who we are able to finish off with our fire staff. And by the time we make our way back onto the point, it looks like a majority of our team is pushed onto there with us. So we're just going to go ahead and try to see if we can pick off any stragglers and then make our way towards the midpoint here. Finishing off and chasing targets is our specialty. Being that we are in one of the most mobile builds in the game, that is something that you definitely want to take advantage of. So that's going to be one of your jobs, I guess, on this build, is to be keeping an eye out for anybody who you see is low health. When it comes to large group fights as well, because of our mobility and our evasiveness with the rapier, you can oftentimes stay alive a lot longer than most builds and fights. So making your way into the back line, as you saw me just do there, and staying alive as long as you can will oftentimes buy your team the opening to push, because what will end up happening is everybody ends up turning their attention to try and finish you off, because it should be something that they can do pretty quick. But you can stay alive on the rapier for quite a bit of time. So you see, we end up making our way to the back line there, do a bit of evasive dodging, and essentially allows our team to push up to the front of that gate there. Now, following this push, I'm going to go ahead and make my way to the back of the point, because that is the other thing that I want to try and deal with. You see, our team hasn't made it onto the point here yet. I'm able to finish off that one bowman there. But the thing that makes it hard for teams to push into the point is ranged builds. So bowmen who are on top of the point, as you see there, but mainly people who are outside of the point shooting through the 2 doorways. So I'm going to position myself kind of back outside of the point here to try and pretty much get anybody's attention onto me instead of onto my teammates. You see, I already have this bowman here up here pretty much hard locked on us, and then we have pretty much pulled a couple more players, and it looks like our team is at least onto the point now fighting. We haven't capped it yet, but we at least have bodies on the point now, and that is what our goal is on this type of build. So we're going to go ahead and sit in the back here, and again, just try and buy as much time for our team as we can. This musket player that would normally just be sitting there free casting, free shooting on our teammates is forced to, not really forced, he could leave at any point, but it's really the tendency of players a lot of the time to stick on you and try to finish you off. So you see we're buying a lot of time for our team here. Baron has come up, and it's something that I probably should have turned to right away. But as you see, a lot of our teammates decided to stay on Sun, so we would end up being there by ourselves. So I think we can end up giving or doing a little bit more in the match by staying here. And you see we do a really good job of spacing out both of those spear attacks here, as this player kind of just throws out all of his abilities right away. And we're able to just finish him off right there with the rapier without him having anything left. And we're going to turn our attention here back to this rifleman. Our goal isn't really to kill him. The thing about fighting range builds is the more aggressive you go, the more you're leaving yourself open to being stunned or being killed. So it's the reason why I'm kind of just sitting here with my fire staff, kind of just trading light attacks with this player here. And you see the enemy team ends up taking Baron pretty quickly there. So our team has capped the second point. And at this point here, I'm going to go ahead and try to make my way to the enemy back point to then pull some more players there. Similarly to healers, our goal isn't to fully cap the point. Just being present there and forcing enemy players to come to the point to try and defend it is more than enough to do your job and buy your team an opening. As you can see right now, the enemy team is on Sun, as you see them capping it very quickly here. But you're going to see that we're going to be able to pull quite a few players back onto this point with us. Anytime the enemy team has a summoned NPC on the back point, as you see here, you really want to make sure you take it out, because it's just additional pressure on you that isn't helpful while you're trying to fight the multiple opponents that are going to be on the point. And as you see here, we already have 3 opponents that we have drawn back to the point here. So we're not going to go super deep or too aggressive for any kills here. We really just want to buy time and stay alive for as long as we can. And you see we're already taking quite a bit of damage here. And we're forced off of the point, which is okay. Like I said, our goal isn't to cap it. Just being alive in this general area is going to be more than enough. And you see we do end up getting caught by that spear combo there, but we are healthy enough to survive. And I just want to keep my distance and try to see if I can pull a couple of players away from the base there to see if I can get a little bit of a smaller fight. We do end up pulling 2 players away here, which is a much more manageable fight than we had on the point. 2 spear players, and I believe one of them is a bow. And you see with that flesh there, we do quite a bit of damage to this first player here, so he is going to be the target that I try to focus. You see we do a really good job of spacing and staying out of range of that other player. We land the heavy, land the fireball, get a beautiful sequence of attacks there to finish off that first player, and then we're left to a 1v1, which is a much more manageable fight. And you see we end up getting a really nice win on that trade there. We go for the incinerate when he goes for the infected throw, which puts him on the back foot. And just keeping that pressure up with the fire staff, we go for the burnout, and it looks like we catch him on either his spirit bar or he didn't have the hatchet ultimate, but we were able to finish him off without the defy death proccing there. Get a really nice 2v1, and we're gonna go ahead and make our way right back to the point here. That is how you want to take fights, regardless of the situation, whether it's on a point in an OPR or if you're just in an open world fight. Using your mobility to pull people away and make the fight more manageable for you is how you win fights. Because sitting there and trying to just brawl with a bunch of people without moving or using any line of sight isn't smart. You know, it's something that we can kind of dive into in another video, but it's very, very, very important to not only surviving when you're playing solo, but especially on this build. But you see, as we take out those two other players there, the two that we just fought do end up respawning here, but again, we're just going to go ahead and make our way to the point. As you saw, during that time there, our team was able to get a foothold. I believe we only got like 3 to 5 players onto this point here, but it was just enough to seemingly buy our team some time. It looks like they're losing that fight on Sun, but again, being that we are now capping the point is going to end up drawing some players again. So we do have a friendly player with us this time, which is going to be really, really helpful. We can probably end up staying on the point instead of having to leave the point, being that we have a friendly. And we're going to go ahead and just try to focus the target he does. It looks like he's on a hatchet build, and he does have quite a bit of damage. You see we take out 2 more targets right there. I'm just pretty much trying to watch the target that he's on and follow up and finish for when they try to escape. And it looks like we're doing a pretty good job as a team here. And then we end up getting a healer as well, which is going to be really, really good for allowing us to stay alive here. This is a really, really nice setup to see, or to buy even more time. You see our team has capped the 2nd point, and we've pulled people to the 3rd point here. So this is a really, really good situation to be in. And again, I'm going to try to watch the hatchet player. He does a really, really good job of finishing off that player there, and pretty much 100 to 0s him without my help. And I want to do both, not only keep an eye on who the hatchet player is on, but keep an eye on our healer to make sure that he doesn't get taken out. But it looks like we're doing a pretty good job here of playing together. We are taking out some targets as they come onto the point, doing a good job of spacing out, and this healer is keeping us alive. We do play a little bit too cocky there, and we just stay in the middle of that brawl instead of dodging out, which is something that I definitely should have done. But as you saw at the end of the fight there was about 10 plus players who were rushing onto the point. So again, we did our job. Our only real goal there was to try to pull people off, and being that a majority of their team is now on that point, we're going to go ahead and see if we can meet up with our teammates here on Sun and buy as much time with 2 points as we can. It's pretty much the game that I like to play as a solo player. It's either going for that back cap to give your team some room to cap the midpoint, and once you achieve that, it's then staying on that midpoint to try to get as much points as you can. We are pretty far behind here. We're 300 plus points behind, but I feel like this match definitely would have been over already had we not done these couple of little plays here. But you see the enemy team has started to push us here in the middle, and as I mentioned earlier, playing that back line is going to be how you provide the most value in a fight as a solo player. So you see we immediately dive that back line and jump on a healer. It looks like he catches a bow shot as soon as we flush in, so we almost finish him off there, but we aren't able to get the kill. But as I mentioned, the fact that he's healing himself trying to stay alive right now means that he's not healing somebody else. And again, we get him very, very low, but it doesn't look like we're going to be able to finish off this healer. But we're just going to go ahead and try to be a nuisance for as long as we can. And it looks like here we've already pulled a couple of players from that main fight onto us here. Using that fire staff, we're going to go ahead and avoid a couple of those players. But you see our team is inching forward a little bit here, bit by bit. And as soon as we get healed up here, I'm going to go ahead and again try to dive that back line. We get healed up, and I immediately go for the burnout to see if I can go ahead and again be a nuisance. But it looks like we're almost to the enemy base. We take a lot of damage there as we got a couple of backstabs from the spirit player there. So I just go ahead and flush to the right. But I'm trying to see if I can stay in this general area. As you can see, a lot of the players are now focusing on us. I probably should have gone back at that point as we do end up going down there. But we were able to make quite a bit of ground. And this entire time, we were just getting points being on 2 bases. I find it super enjoyable, the amount of momentum that you can influence just by being a solo player. It's actually pretty crazy how fights often play out a lot of the times in fights where blobs will form on both sides or zergs, and the teams will kind of just stay to those zergs for a lot of the time, which will allow you to do the things that you're kind of seeing me do in this match here. But the second Baron is alive here, and we do have some friendly teammates going to it, so I want to make sure that I head there with my teammates this time to make sure that we can secure it, because getting a Baron at this point in the match would be super important and will be the only chance that we have to winning this match. You see we end up finishing off 2 players there, and it looks like a majority of our team does have a foothold on the point. So at this point, what I like to do is not actually focus my attention on Baron, is look for where the enemy bull players are. And as you saw, our team is burning it down very quickly, so I immediately burn out to the enemy team. You see we end up getting a parry on at least 1 bull player there, but as you saw earlier, just being in their face draws attention from people, and it might have not affected whether or not we got that Baron, but we are able to secure it there, which is super important and is going to give us maybe our only chance to come back into this fight here. But yeah, Baron fights are something that is a little bit frustrating for me, honestly, because what ends up happening pretty much every time in matches is both teams just try to DPS race the boss, and inevitably every single time a single bull player just steals it from a random mountain somewhere. The thing that you need to do for Baron fights is either get in there before the enemy team does and secure a perimeter like how we kind of did there, which is still risky because bull players can just shoot inside and get a kill, or actually clear out everybody, because oftentimes what ends up happening is there's just a bull player lurking around the corner just waiting for the health to get low, and with the pen shot they can shoot through everybody and do more damage than most people can do in a single shot and just get a steal. So it's really imperative for Barons that you make sure that you either clear out everybody on the point or get the attention of the ranged players, because they're going to try to steal for sure. But you see, after the Baron there, our teammates are able to secure Sun, so we immediately make our way over to the enemy point here, as a couple of our teammates do as well, because again, this is going to be our only chance to maybe come back in this match here. And it looks like we do have a couple of players with us. It looks like the healer that we had earlier. So we're just going to go ahead and brawl it out here. I'm going to try to keep an eye on all of my teammates just to see if I can help anybody where I can. But really just trying to stay evasive and apply damage where I can and look for low health targets like this. The reason why I don't go for that target there is because you see we do get 2 teammates, but you see we land a beautiful incinerate right as our healer lands the parry. So not only do they get knocked back from our incinerate, but they get stunned from the parry. We follow up with the flesh on that 1 player, get the help for the 2nd player, and we're able to pretty much clear out everybody on this point, and we're just working on this door now. But it is a very close match indeed. We're getting down to the wire here, but as I mentioned, I feel like this match could have just been a 5-minute match where the enemy team kind of just caps all 3 points and wins the game. But quite a few times here we were able to affect the overall momentum of the game. But I'm just going to go ahead and do what we do best, finish off targets and stay alive here. And we have a couple of targets here, so it looks like we're going to be able to cap this point. Unfortunately, we do lose Sun. It would have been nice if the rest of our teammates could have held that. Had we held that and capped this, we for sure would have been able to come back in this match. But it's going to be very close, I think. And again, just finding stragglers. You see these players are kind of just running onto the point 1 by 1. And as they retreat, we have the mobility to finish them off. Again, I play really aggressive. We had more than enough time there to dodge or evade backwards and get out of that fight, but being that he was in heavy or medium armor there, it took us just a little bit longer to finish off that kill, and he does take us out as well. It does look like they have captured Luna as well, so the enemy team is doing a really good job of kind of stopping us from coming back in this match. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to make my way to Luna here, but this is a really kind of hot pocket kind of match here where everybody in the game is kind of constantly switching between each point, which is one of the more enjoyable types of matches to me, honestly. The ones where it's just a siege on Sun for the entire game is pretty boring, but you see we've pretty consistently been at all 3 points for the entire majority of the game. We probably should have walked around here, but we already have the door down as we are able to capture Luna here. But as you can see by the score there, the enemy team capturing Sun and then getting here to get Luna, I think was just enough to secure them the lead. We're gonna see what we can do off of this cap here. We do still have the enemy point there, so if we can maybe rush to Sun and get a cap, we might be able to maybe blitz the score here. But as you saw right there, they've already started to cap Astra. The thing that's making this game a little bit hard is you see there's like a consistent small group of us that seems to be pretty mobile, the healer and that one hatchet player, but each time that we go somewhere on the map to draw attention, I'm not sure what the rest of our team is doing, but it's allowing the enemy team to just get free caps where they pretty much shouldn't be. As you've seen a couple of times, fighting like this, as if we're a brawler, is really not the way you want to fight in a light armor build, or this build in particular. But you're down to the wire, so I really want to see if we can cap Sun here. You get a pretty juicy incinerate on these targets here, and the only real reason why I'm staying in this brawl here is because you see we are taking out targets, albeit it's slow because there is a healer somewhere healing them. We do have enough people here to where we are able to take out targets, and the second that we cap Sun, we just burn out over to see if we can make it to Astra. We do still have it at the moment, but it looks like everybody on their team is there. As you see, a lot of them are now making their way to Sun. I do want to see if I can still make my way around. If we can maybe get enough players onto that point there, we might be able to cap it. They're taking quite a bit of bow shots, but I think we'll be able to make it to the point here without dying. They do have an outpost up, but I don't think we'll have enough time to cap the point here. I go for a incinerate just to see if I can put in a little bit of burst damage to take out one of these targets right away. It looks like it's just an army of thrust players, as 4 bow players end up spawning back here. We are able to avoid damage because we are able to space out the spears, but eventually we're going to get caught. As you see, we do take a lot of damage there. We jump off into another player, but he doesn't catch us. Just barely avoid the vault kick from that player there, as we do have a healer. But because they have an outpost, they got a bunch of spawns there, which prevented me from capping the point here. And as you can see now, there's about 10 players who have respawned there. So it doesn't look like we're going to be able to win this match, but a very close match nonetheless. We almost brought it to within a 100-point match, and honestly, if we stayed alive a couple of those times and were able to cap a couple of those points, I definitely feel like if we were able to 3 cap at the end there, we definitely could have came back and won this game. But again, let me know what you guys thought of this format of video. I actually really do enjoy looking at the game in a more macro sense, because there is a lot of things I feel like you can take from just how I move and the decisions that I make to try to find myself success on this build. And as the match winds down here, the enemy team does end up picking up the win. But still a very fun match nonetheless. A ton of moving around between points, which is always a fun time. We end up still getting a pretty nice score in this match, making it into the top 5 with quite a bit of damage, considering that we weren't going for the main Zerg. But yeah, let me know what you guys thought of the format of the video. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day.